Good morning. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith here at the National Weather Service in Pocatello with your weather hazard briefing for Wednesday, September 27th. Our title today, a little bit of everything, dry and breezy, but then wet and cold. We're going to bend things into kind of two periods here as we look at our key points for the next week or so. First, pattern number one, that drier, seasonable temperatured, slightly breezy pattern. We're going to be seeing that today into Thursday and into Friday. So the first 3 days of our forecast here, and breezy conditions particularly today. So some points here for pattern number one, low pressure passing to our north will increase those winds this afternoon. They'll be maybe just a little breezier than what we've seen the past couple days this afternoon and evening. Along and ahead of a dry cold front that is going to cross the region, not expecting precipitation out of it locally, just a little bit of that wind impact as that front comes through. Post front, once we bring in just a slightly cooler air mass here for the next day or two, a little bit of patchy frost is possible for a few spots on Thursday and Friday mornings. We'll talk about that. Overall temperatures near to just a few degrees below normal for what we typically see here in late September. So other than the breezy conditions, other than a few spots seeing some patchy frost, not a lot of impacts here loaded up for today, again into Thursday and most of Friday as well, looking dry under this first pattern. We're going to change everything up as we head toward the weekend. So pattern number two, turning colder, turning much wetter across southeast Idaho. That's going to be in effect here for Saturday into Sunday, likely into Monday as well. So this is looking like another kind of long duration storm system. Some of the dynamics and mechanics are a little bit different than what we saw about a week or two ago, where we had that wetter, colder period. But as far as impacts, it's going to be fairly similar. We're looking at multiple rounds of rain and showers across the region over about a 3-day period. That rain will mix with a little bit of snow, particularly up above pass level across the central mountain region, a few inches up there in the backcountry. So something to keep in mind if you may be out hunting, camping up in that region. And high temperatures are going to be down, only reaching the 50s by the time we get out to Monday, just under a week from now with this pattern moving in. So let's talk a little bit deeper about all of this, looking at the weather risk outlook for the next 6 days. Again, generally minor impacts. We've got some yellow shading here. You can see for today, breezy conditions, not so much down across the southern highlands and South Hills. You'll be a little bit lighter today, but as you get up into the Shoshone lava beds and Snake Plain corridor northward across the central mountain region, up into Clark and Fremont counties as well, definitely noticeably breezy today. I'll show you those values here in a minute. We'll talk about maybe an isolated shower too, sneaking into the Sawtooth area or Lemhi County. Patchy frost in our main agricultural corridor, possible for a few spots Thursday and Friday mornings. Like we said, Snake Plain, northern portions of the eastern Magic Valley. And then here comes the main event. Here comes that pattern number two, turning wetter and colder as we head into the weekend. Saturday and Sunday here, the first 2 of 3 days of rain and widespread shower activity across southeast Idaho. Satellite loop this morning, pretty clear as far as cloud cover locally. Again, we're still under a quieter, drier weather pattern, but very easy to pick out this low pressure system. Very nice swirl here in the satellite loop as it comes into the left side of the screen here, approaching the coast of Washington. This is a very organized, very wet, low pressure system, bringing lots of rain and thunderstorm activity to the Pacific Northwest. This is going to continue to track northeast north of our forecast area. It's going to take the precipitation with it. Again, the only impact we're expecting locally out of this later today into this evening is that dry cold front passage and a little bit of that wind coming down here locally. Watches, warnings, and advisories this morning, there are none. And we try to show kind of a wide view here if you're headed down to Salt Lake, if you're headed westward out toward the Boise area, northward up to Bozeman, maybe over to Jackson. Again, nothing meeting criteria right now for any watches, warnings, or advisories out there across the region. So let's walk day by day here. We'll start out with low temperatures this morning as you head out here over on the left, and then high temperatures this afternoon, shown here on the right for today. Not really looking at frost concerns for most areas, particularly, again, our eastern Magic Valley Snake Plain corridor that we kind of focus on as our main agricultural corridor. We're going to be starting out here generally in the 40s, a few upper 30s out there. Population centers, mid to upper 40s common here, particularly down along the interstates. And we're headed toward very seasonable temperatures for this time of year. Readings only a few degrees off from climatological norms here for late September this afternoon, getting up into the upper 60s to some low 70s. Beautiful conditions out there temperature-wise today. Taking a look at the wind over here on the left, we have sustained wind values out of the west-southwest here as we get into the afternoon and evening. You can see kind of some of our normally windier spots here out across Mud Lake, the Arco Desert, Craters of the Moon, certainly coming in with some sustained values of 20 to 30 miles an hour. And you can see some of that, particularly into the higher elevations of the Central Mountains. Some lighter shading down here across the south, where we're going to see generally lighter wind speeds. And right in the middle of it all, looking at American Falls Reservoir, it'll be noticeably breezy out there, but as looking at exact speeds, looks like we're going to fall a little short of what we're looking for winds that are going to create dangerous waves. That's when we would be looking at lake wind advisory conditions, and we think we're not quite going to get that windy over the reservoir today. The stronger values holding just north, but we'll keep an eye on that just in case anything changes. Over here on the right, throw some wind gusts into the mix as well. Anywhere you see the yellow or orange shading, we're looking for gusts of 30 to 40 miles an hour. And again, those winds will be maximized across Craters, Arco Desert, Mud Lake, up across portions of Clark and Fremont counties, and then up into the Central Mountains, particularly as you head up in elevation. This is all, again, ahead of and along a dry cold front coming through late this afternoon into this evening. We're not expecting precipitation out of this. I will show this graphic, though, just to call out here. You can see just a little green shading all the way up at the top. That's your chance of thunderstorms. Again, rain and thunderstorms are following that low pressure system to the northeast, all staying north of our forecast area today. But I will mention here, if you're heading north of Stanley, north of Chalice, up near and north of the Leodore area, there may be a shower or a sprinkle this afternoon. Just a couple of our high-res models are showing that. A few others are dry. Not looking at a lot of widespread activity, not looking at a washout if you're up in this area. But again, if you're north of these locations, may see a sprinkle or two or a light shower this afternoon or this evening, but dry everywhere else. Stepping ahead into Thursday, remember Thursday and Friday, we're still under that drier weather pattern. The big storm isn't here yet, but our temperatures are going to take a bit of a hit here behind our cold front. So over here on the left, these are low temperatures as you head out Thursday morning. Pay attention out here across portions of the Arco Desert, up toward Du Bois, just to the northwest of Rexburg, possibly the lower end here of the Wood River Valley. We are officially forecasting a few spots to get down to 36, 35, 34 degrees for your low temperatures. So these are going to be your best candidate areas for some patchy frost as we head into Thursday morning. It's a little bit dependent on cloud cover. I do think we will see some general clearing. I don't think we're going to be blanketed with thick cloud cover that's really going to hold the temperatures warmer. But it is kind of a marginal scenario here. So don't be surprised if we do consider maybe a frost advisory for some areas as we go forward here, looking at data coming in over the course of today. But for now, just be aware that we may get close here for a few spots. Over here on the right, high temperatures Thursday afternoon. You can see about 5 to 10 degrees cooler than what we're expecting today. Again, we're behind that dry cold front. So in the atmosphere, our winds are a little more zonal. They're coming kind of straight out of the west. We're not really bringing warmer air in from anywhere behind this. So expecting readings to top out in the 60s for just about all of our population centers here Thursday afternoon here across Southeast Idaho. Stepping ahead to Friday, may not have caught that, back to Thursday, ahead to Friday. Look how similar these temperatures are. Maybe a little bit better coverage of some frost potential here Friday morning. Again, this is cloud cover dependent, assuming we get some good clearing. Arco Desert, Mud Lake, Upper Snake Plain area, kind of over to the south end of the Wood River Valley. Again, expecting some temperatures possibly getting close to freezing. So another period we'll be watching in case we do need to issue a frost advisory. Friday afternoon might gain a degree or two as we kind of wait for the big storm to arrive. But in general, you can see readings here topping out in the 60s once again, maybe 70 out towards Shoshone and getting pretty close in Burley, 70 over to Pocatello, but 67 up in Rexburg, close to 60 up here in Island Park, 66 up to Salmon. Again, it's going to be beautiful conditions temperature-wise for early fall here in Southeast Idaho. Saturday. Okay, now we're going into system number 2. Now we're bringing in rain, widespread rain showers Saturday into Sunday into Monday, and we're going to slowly start bringing those temperatures down. So here's high temperatures on Saturday. Still, for most places, getting up into the 60s, but we start to shave a couple degrees off. And as I step ahead to Sunday, we're down into the upper 50s for some of the valleys and the mountain areas, lower 60s now down in Idaho Falls, Pocatello, portions of the Snake Plain, maybe not quite reaching 60 as you head out here into the eastern Magic Valley by Sunday afternoon. And I don't have Monday in here yet, but Monday's looking even cooler. We may not even make it to 60 degrees right down into the Snake Plain for temperatures on Monday as we see rain showers continuing. Here's a very first look at kind of ballpark 3-day storm total rainfall amounts here for this system. This is subject to change over the next few days. We've still got several days to look at incoming data and see if we're seeing any trends here as the system approaches our area. But you can see down across even our lower elevations, kind of widespread, slightly darker green shading here. And kind of looking over on the key, that's about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch over about a 3-day period. So not an excessive rainfall flood scenario we're thinking right now, but certainly some meaningful rainfall here for just about everyone across the forecast area. And as you head north up toward the Montana border into portions of the higher elevations in the eastern and southern central mountains, we may be able to stack up some higher totals, possibly over an inch to 1.25 1.5 here at a few of the higher elevations. And of course, a little bit of this will fall as several inches of very high elevation snow. So stay tuned. We'll be watching these numbers. We'll be watching trends with this storm system here in the days ahead for both snow and rain and keep you updated on that. Close out here with another little nugget of good news. This is the current drought monitor information for southeast Idaho, and we have no drought. It's a great place to be as we kick off the fall and winter here. Of course, this is the season where we start to look at building that snowpack, and then we melt that snowpack off in the spring. It's very meaningful numbers, very meaningful time frame. Looking ahead to having water available, particularly for agriculture as we head into next spring. But a great place to start the season here with officially no drought across our southeast Idaho forecast area. You can see we still are under some drought conditions as you head up into the Idaho Panhandle much further north. So certainly not expecting this to change too much here in the near term with this next system coming in with some meaningful rainfall for our area. So there you have it. A little bit of everything here over the next 6 days. Again, today, Thursday, Friday, leaning lower impact outside of a little bit of breeziness and some frost. A little bit higher impact, a little bit more disruptive to most of your plans here as we head into Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with that colder, wetter weather moving into the region. If you have questions, comments, concerns for us, of course, we're here 24/7. Contact information is on this slide. And everyone have an outstanding Wednesday.